Lithium, lithium, lithium. These past few days, many of the leading ASX lithium companies have really been spending their time in the headlines. From leading offtake agreements with companies like Tesla to resource upgrades, significantly increasing the resource base of individual companies, as well as project development, as many of these lithium developers move towards coming online and bringing production online and get exposure to those elevated prices that we're all familiar with. Well, today I thought it was a good time to just spend a little bit of time reflecting on all of the recent ASX Lithium news. This has all come out just over the past couple of days. They say sometimes a day can feel like a week on the markets. And if you're an investor in the ASX Lithium space, this has definitely been one of those periods. As we dive in, we'll look at a range of different companies from Sayona to Lake Resources, Core Lithium and Argosy. Each of these have had some transformative pieces of news or announcements as they look forward to continued development, and many of these looking towards production in the year of 2022 and moving beyond that. We haven't actually done one of these sector news breakdowns before, but if it is a style of video that you enjoy, let us know, drop in a comment, and we can definitely look to do more of these moving forward in the future. And before we dive in, as you guys know, I'm just a bloke on the internet who loves talking about stocks. These aren't buy recommendations, it's not financial advice. Hopefully it's an interesting starting spot, however, for you to go away and do your own research from. And so before looking at all of the news flow and the announcements on a company-specific lens, I thought it made sense for us to take a look at the lithium prices. This is probably a graph and a visual that many of you are familiar with over this past period. It's continued soaring higher and higher and higher. Many will remember that 17, 18 lithium boom, and then of course the consequent bust. But really, when you're looking at the charts and the pricing that we are at now, it is absolutely mind-blowing to consider. Of course, we all know about the structural deficit that we're seeing on the supply side. Supply is trying to come online, but it can't come online fast enough. And of course, there are a range of different headwinds as well, whether we're talking about labour shortages, whether we're talking about environmental and social governance aspects that are meaning that some projects can't get off the ground. If we're just thinking about the past couple of years with lockdowns, mobility restrictions, and everything else that's played out, it means that delays have happened. And as a result of that, prices have continued pushing higher and higher as demand continues to rise, with the EV adoption just starting to pick up pace as well. I think one other note on this broader lithium market dynamic, it is worth considering as well with everything that's playing out around the world. We're seeing the energy crisis and the prices continue to soar higher, but we're now seeing a focus on need to really localize supply chains and also to look for alternative energy sources with everything that's playing out on the fossil fuel side too. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this next period looks like, but it does look like there's a range of different tailwinds really converging that have been pushing these lithium prices higher. And so stock number one on the news list today. Doesn't make sense to start anywhere else other than with Core Lithium. ASX CXO has announced a legally binding term sheet with a little EV company called Tesla. Of course, Tesla have really pioneered the electric vehicle revolution around the world. They are one of the leading names and they always attract a lot of attention. We talked recently in a recent video about Liontown Resources, who signed an agreement with Tesla for their spodumene with their Kathleen Valley resource. And Core Lithium, CXO, saw a significant uplift in their share price today as a result of this announcement too. Of course, Core Lithium have got a stage process, 3 different stages over time. First and foremost, looking to bring their Finniss lithium project into production starting the end of 2022. They've got Q4 highlighted. They've reached their FID at the back end of last year. Construction has begun. They want to get into production and get that exposure to the elevated prices that we've just talked about. Stage 2, really looking at how they can increase their resource base and really continue to expand that and extend their life of mine. They've got a range of different exploration going on ahead, and that will continue. Plenty of drilling, waiting on some assay results too, and that all ties into the opportunity for potential resource growth. And then, like many companies and producers, they're looking at that further downstream opportunity. We see many of the ASX lithium producers currently looking at the opportunity to go further downstream. Core Lithium are definitely looking to that as well, with the potential of hydroxide facility in years to come. Congratulations to Core Lithium with their announcement surrounding Tesla. Of course, it is still subject to the execution of a definitive agreement, but it is always great to see Australian companies flying the flag in a global marketplace. And then stock number 2, Sayona Mining. ASX SYA came out with a fairly significant announcement of their own over the past couple of days. They of course entered a trading halt, and as they exited that halt, they provided an insight that they have doubled their Quebec Lithium resource. Investors knew that there was going to be a resource upgrade, but weren't sure at what magnitude that would actually be. Was it 20, 30, 40, 50%? It ended up doubling their Quebec Lithium resource, and now they have a combined JORC resource, combining both NAL, their acquisition of North American Lithium last year, as well as their Authier Lithium project. The combined JORC resource is 119 million tonnes at 1.05%. This is for measured, indicated, and inferred. But what's really positive about this is the majority of this is for measured and indicated. Now that this resource upgrade has been put into paper, there is the opportunity, and investors are looking forward to DFS to come through in the coming period now with a combined NAL and Authier resource. And I think what's really interesting about that is, if you think about the fact that there's been a significant resource upgrade to plug some numbers into, but on the other side, you've got really elevated lithium prices as well. Both of those dynamics mean that there should be some really interesting numbers to look forward to with that upcoming DFS. In terms of next step forwards for ASX SYA, focus on bringing the NAL production back online in 2023, so nearish term producer. Further drilling for Moblan is underway. They acquired Moblan last year. They've of course got the Argosy Hub that they're focusing on with NAL, Authier, and then Tanzim as well as the other opportunity there. But then they're looking at the Northern Hub as well, which Moblan will be a key opportunity to centre around. There is some further results as well awaiting from Novonix battery testing performance results. And then finally, like Core Lithium, Sayona are also looking at the opportunity to go further downstream with production in years to come. And they have committed to that. So it'll be interesting to see how that opportunity flows through. And then stock number 3, Argosy Minerals, ASX AGY. I wanted to pose a question actually. I believe, as far as the research and the looks that I've been looking into, I haven't found many, or if any so far, companies that will be bringing online battery-grade lithium production online earlier than Argosy Minerals. They're looking to bring online their first production by mid-2022, and their announcement over the past few days was that their Rincon Lithium project, their 2,000 tonnes per annum plant, it's at 61% construction completion, so it's getting close. There is not too long to go, and as I mentioned at the start, I believe that they're going to be at least one of the nearest term producers coming online, if not the nearest. Construction and development is on time and on budget, which is of course what you want to be seeing with projects, but it is worth noting as well that it's a modular development and they are targeting further expansion towards 12,000 tonne per annum total with another 10k TPA to be added on. The focus, of course, like many companies, is in the near term, generate those cash flows, get into production, get exposure to the prices that are in the here and now, and they're still awaiting further approvals to really bring online that stage 2 of the process and get into 12,000 TPA. It's going to be interesting watching Argosy as they move closer towards production. We of course know that valuations for companies start to shift towards cash flows as you move towards production. So investors will be waiting to see, with Argosy trading just in and around that $400 million market cap, to see if the market starts to have a bit of a different reaction and starts repricing Argosy in the months moving forward to this period. And then stock number 4, ASX LKE or Lake Resources emerged from a voluntary suspension. There was some uncertainty with a compliance oversight or an administrative oversight. They were waiting for some insight surrounding, but they had some news recently that court granted relief on this admin oversight, and they've emerged relatively unscathed. The share price actually didn't change too much as a result of that. In fact, it's gone up in the days after they've emerged from this voluntary suspension. And now investors are really focusing on the opportunity up ahead for Lake Resources in the coming months, because they've got a lot of potential catalysts and some exciting news flow. I think over the past few months, Lake Resources, one of the major things they announced was their target 100 that they've established. They're targeting 1,000 tonnes per annum by 2030. Of course, for anyone who's familiar with the lithium space, they'll know that for anyone to be producing 1,000 tonne per annum by 2030, it's going to be of a globally significant scale. Top 5 global producers, potentially higher than that, depending on how the supply really plays out over this upcoming period. But Lake Resources have got a range of different projects. Of course, they're developing their Kachi project, but they've got a range of different projects that they're doing drilling on now to really help to facilitate this scale. Demonstration plant is due on site soon. Of course, a pilot plant has been produced, but there's excitement to see the demonstration plant that will be on site and that will help to validate the technology. Of course, DLE, it's a new process in terms of lithium. It's been used for water extraction previously, but a working demonstration plant will go some way to de-risking the project. Then for further opportunities, definitive feasibility study as well as the environmental and social impact assessment, both due in this half of 2022, and contingent on both of those being successful, then the opportunity is to flow into a final investment decision, which will be really exciting for Lake Resources. LKE also has uncommitted offtake at this stage, which means they obviously have the opportunity to get exposure to those elevated prices. And so there is excitement to see which manufacturers or offtakers Lake Resources is able to sign on with. They previously stated that they really want to sign these strategic partnerships. And so investors are going to be looking forward to seeing those come to market. And so as you can see, it's been a whirlwind week of news for ASX lithium companies. Many of these are developers, but each of those are moving forward towards exciting stages of their development. Firstly, if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new here, make sure you've subscribed and turn your bell notifications on. You'll be updated every time we drop a new video. We drop a new one each and every day. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to share it out as well. Thank you so much for helping to grow the community. It's an exciting time for the lithium, but the broader EV battery materials space. There's a focus on localization of supply chains. The supply shortfall only continues to expand. EV adoption is picking up pace. It's becoming more and more commonplace with discussions, and evidently with the elevated petrol prices as well, it's only becoming more and more front of mind. 2021 was a huge year for the EV battery materials sector, and it looks like 2022 is shaping up to be another exciting one for the space. Thank you so much for joining us. For now, stay well and happy investing.